Good morning, PT on Ice. Welcome to Monday. We're in the midst of June, we're in the middle of June, and I'm coming at you this morning from my front porch. A little more on that in a minute. I'm going to make it sort of quick this morning. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay on. I have sort of a long story that's coming about and going to add to today. So let me get started, hit the clock, and here we go. So the context, right? So start with the context. So either in whole or in part, I own some properties. It's just something that I got into pretty much right after college, with my first home, and then we tried to do what we could to keep that, and it's now a rental, and of course I own a part of the base camp property. And so with that comes this, this double-edged sword of life, right? Like the ownership mentality. When you own something, it's yours. It's your baby. You kind of get to get it with all its warts and all the bells and whistles in the beginning and all the troubles in the end. So this morning, I had what I've been calling the cold shower of reality. So for the last couple of weeks, for those people who have kind of been close to me or know me, they know that I'm sort of ongoingly frustrated, right, with the pace of change. I want things to happen tomorrow. I don't have much patience when it comes to the change of life or the change in healthcare that I think needs to be, and because of that, you're frustrated most of the time. So at least I am. So I'm always kind of pushing and trying to grind out and do a little bit more and find, crack the code and figure out what's missing, and how do we kind of fill the gap. And so all's well, that's just kind of typical day-to-day for me. But over the last couple of days and weeks, I've been really kind of pounding my head on the desk and looking for something that's missing. What's kind of the missing piece? And so, with that comes just the gamut of emotions of being kind of frustrated. And then yesterday and this morning, things got kind of put into perspective for me, and I was sort of forced to pause a little bit. What I mean by that is, on Friday I had picked up, hey, good morning, Connie. I had picked up my daughter from the airport. She was lucky enough to spend some time with a friend after school. Their school wrapped up. They had a week, and they went to their grandmother's place in Florida. I got to spend a week on the beach. So that was kind of cool. Picked her up from the airport, all's well, kind of on my way back, and my wife was with me, and she gets a FaceTime call from our other daughter and son who are at the house, and they said, hey, there's water on the floor in the basement. So I said, oh man, this is tedious. I had fixed a pump recently, and it was kind of like, maybe it's the same thing. So I went downstairs, we got home, went downstairs and looked, and sure enough, there was water on the floor, but it wasn't the same thing. What it turned out to be was the water heater was kind of, broken or leaking or something. And, so I'm not much of a handyman, so I got online and I decided to do my, due diligence, and it said, yeah, check this, check that, maybe it's nothing. But if it's this, then, you need to replace your water heater. So it turns out, long story short, that I need to replace my water heater. I called up a plumber who I know. He came out. He happened to be out and about on Saturday, so he came out, took a look, and he said, yeah, it's not great. You're going to have to replace it. So that's a couple of $1,000s when it's all said and done. And the home is, 15 years old, and so there's a couple of code changes or whatever, so things need to be brought up to speed. And then this morning, I got up and I tried to do my quick workout. On Mondays, I've been doing a very quick, high-intensity, 15 minutes, lots of intensity kind of workout. Figured I'd get up and do that, and I got back home, and the water heater had progressed to the point where all we had was cold water. So I get in the shower, and this guy's going to be walking up any second, which is why I might jump off here a little early. But he's coming out, on Monday. That was the plan anyway. Yeah, I'll come out Monday. We'll fix it. We'll get you a new water heater. All will be well. So after cleaning the basement up and getting it ready for these guys, I go upstairs and I turn on the shower and I get in, and it's freezing cold. And I mean, I don't know if you've taken a cold shower in a while, but it's freezing cold. So I'm like kind of, going as quick as I can because it's miserable. Trying to, not work up a sweat while in the actual shower. And realizing, in the same moment, exactly what a good problem this is. And what I mean by that is that sometimes in life, so sorry to hear that. Connie says, I found out Saturday we need a new HVAC system, but we still have hot water. So yeah, I guess double-edged sword. So what it was, though, for me at least, it was that moment to just kind of I was forced to sort of get hit with reality, to pause and realize that, if you're not in an ownership situation, you don't have these issues. And these problems are, they're tedious and costly. I mean, who has an extra $1,000 or $2,000 laying around? But the reality is this is a great problem to have. These are the problems that we want, because these are problems that say, hey, like, you own it. You get to make, you get to sort of make the repairs. You get to, deal with the problems as they come up. And I just think that there's something there. And for me, it was actually after getting out of the shower and drying off and not being quite so cold, it was like a little bit of the cold splash to the face that it literally was. Like, it was a little bit to kind of pause and reflect a little bit. So I decided to move this morning out to my front porch and kind of listen to the birds chirp a little bit and wait for the plumber to show up and replace the water heater, and just take a second to say, hey, if we would all pause and realize how good we've got it. No, it's not solved. And it's not quick. That's kind of the other part of it, is that it's not quick. It doesn't happen overnight. And the more I see things and the more I read and pay attention to things and meet people, I feel like that patience, that taking of time, that frustration for all of us might be at the crux of it. That might be a big part of the rat race. The fact that we feel this stress, the fact that we feel, as I said last week, sort of missing something, part of that is because we're just racing so fast all the time, and we don't pause and realize what we own, how good it is. So it looks like that's my time. My guy's walking up right now. I'm going to continue this conversation in a bit. Maybe I'll jump back on in a little while, and we'll finish the conversation. But otherwise, if I don't see you again in a few minutes, have a great morning.